Hi, this is Lou from Lou's Antiques and Collectibles, and we're back again in Blissfield, Michigan, and we're going to the second antique mall that we are visiting there today. And interesting enough, the two malls are connected by this cute little restaurant, and so it's a perfect setup. So the name of this mall is Decades Antique Mall, and we're gonna go over there and take a little tour. This one is also 3 stories, and the restaurant in between is really quite perfect because you could go to one mall, have a little lunch, and then go to the other one. So it's also in a historical old building and has a variety of different dealers. And then we have quite a bit of glassware here. They're all different colors. This is the main story of the mall. And on the main story, they also have showcases filled with all kinds of smalls, glassware, and this chicken was so cute. I wanted to buy it, but it was a little bit too much. It had a pink rhinestone eye. How cute is that? They had a lot of vintage clothes in this particular booth, and this was on the main level. And I'm starting to dabble in vintage clothes a little bit. They're very hard to find for reasonable prices, but I've done real well on them. And also I'm starting to do some more old hats now that I have a bigger booth at Maumee Antique Mall. So I'm looking more at these kinds of items and branching off a bit from the glassware and the jewelry and the typical things that I have been doing. Here's a beautiful dress that they had in one of the booths with vintage clothing. Like a wedding dress. So nice. Interesting enough, I've had a few wedding dresses and I've tried to sell them, and for me, they don't sell well. The more everyday wear and the dress wear does better. Oh, that's a really nice purse there. Beautiful purses. I've always done purses, and I always look for those too. And here's some more of the showcases at the Decades Mall. And there's some A&W mugs and all kinds of different cars. And this mall has a variety, just like the previous mall that we did at Blissfield. There's something pretty much for everybody. So no matter what you collect. Here's some motorcycles. And there's some newer items, newer collectibles along with the antique items. And here's some pottery. And a nice old scale. And here's some Moon and Stars glassware in green. And that was covered in our YouTube regarding glassware from the 40s through the 70s. And here's another piece of Moon and Stars in red. That pattern comes in a lot of different colors. And here's a little old typewriter. Electric one, much easier to type on than the one that we focused on in the last video about Blissfield. I can remember when electric typewriters came into the world, and boy, it made our fingers a lot better than those old-fashioned ones. You had to have some strong hands to do those other ones. And here's some mugs, collectibles, and some more milk glass. And there are some Westmoreland pieces within those. Lots of different companies. And here's some camera gear. And a nice old camera. And there's some Campbell Soup kits and some Pyrex. And here's a nice overview shot of the mall and the different booths. And here's some comic books. And I've sold a few comic books, but sometimes I run across them at some estate sales or some garage sales. So I've done a few, but not real skilled in that area. And the toys, here's lots of toys. I'm starting to carry some toys as I find them. So we'll see how that goes. I have a little bit more room in my new booth, so I'm trying some different things. And here's some nice red glassware. And this, I believe, is called Cape Cod. And I think that was made by the Avon Company. They actually had a dishware pattern. It's pretty collectible. And here's a very nice booth I'm going to be featuring in my beautiful booths. They had it really decorated nice. And they had newer primitives and lots of antique things too. And look at all the kitchen tools here. Wow. Anything you could possibly want would be in this booth. Huge varieties. in both of the malls in Blissfield. And here's some art. Some newer art and some older things. Very nice. There's some old boxes. Crates and boxes have become really popular too. If you see those, you should always buy them. They sell very well. And this mall, like I said, has an upstairs and also a downstairs. And we're going to head upstairs and see what they got up there. Looks like some milk glass here to start with. And more of that Avon glassware. And these are really old historical buildings. They're beautiful. Got really creaky floors. You can tell you're in a historical building when you hear the creaks. And this first dealer here had a lot of reproductions, and then these folks had birdhouses and stuff they were making out of old teapots. Those were super cute, so creative, really nice. And here's some more other booths upstairs. A huge variety of items. You really got to look, because they're kind of they're not necessarily don't have like items together. That was a nice old purse, a little bit too much money for me to make a profit on, but I really liked it, especially in black. You don't see the wicker purses so much in black. And there's even looks like a Long John Silver sign in the back. Anything you would possibly need. And here's a wall full of mirrors and pictures. That's probably one of my husband's favorite restaurants. We probably should get that for our barn. And here's some vintage clothes. I kind of sifted through to see if there was anything interesting. And there's some modern pieces in there too. Which that's what I've tried with my booth. I have a section of vintage clothes, and then I have a section of more modern, new clothes. Those pictures I would have bought. It's nice to have those on hand when you find those nice oval frames with a curved glass. Sometimes I find those without a picture, so I usually try to get a few of those. But I couldn't find a price on them, and we were kind of in a different area, so I decided just to pass on it today. Oh, there's some old bottles. And some more pictures and glassware and books. A couple of globes. It's a nice overall shot of the upstairs. And here's some more little shoes, vases. Lots of home decor throughout the whole mall. That's another overall shot of the upstairs. These malls are pretty good size too. Like I said, you can spend most of a day here going by the time you get lunch and what have you. And here's the basement. We're going to go down the basement and take a look and see what they got down there. We're greeted with some glassware. It's like some depression glass. And let's see what's in the back here. The dealer on the left has a lot of reproduction items. Those are kind of fun too for decorating your house. And there's a couple of chairs. Lots of neat signs that are new, made to look old. But I deal with those too. I mean, they're good sellers. So they're often not always easy to find when you're doing a wholesale. You have to be careful how much you spend on those kinds of things too, to make your prices reasonable so those items will sell. And here's some showcases full of all kinds of goodies. And some wreaths that somebody made. Like I said, they have some craft items and they have some newer collectibles also in this mall. So it's a good variety. Those were some Pepsi shirts there. And a Coca-Cola sign. And jewelry, of course. Gotta check that out. Couple of nice pieces. But I'm looking today for stuff to resell. So I'm looking for really really reasonable prices. That's something I can make a profit on. That's a little tougher to do in an antique mall. So here's some nice crates. But I do find things. Now, if I'm looking for myself, of course, I'm going to buy a lot more things. There's a couple old doors. That would be neat for decor in a mall, to divide up sections. And here's a whole section with record albums. We started buying those for ourselves recently. We got a new record player. It was kind of fun to start hearing the albums. And here's a whole booth with Christmas items. And Christmas stuff sells year-round. I don't have as big a section of Christmas as this, but keep in mind, people just look for Christmas collectibles often, even in the summer. So if you have some nice pieces, you might want to put them in your booths. And here's some nice old wheels. We have one of those in our yard for decor, and of course a whole bunch of earrings. A nice old card. And this one dealer had a lot of different kinds of phones. There was phones here I have never seen before. So this was kind of a cool booth. There's even a Batman phone and a Tide phone. Well, that was really neat. I didn't know they made phones out of all those cars. Very cool. And there's a Bugs Bunny. And here's some more phones. So if you're a phone collector, this would be a good place to go. Even got a Whirlpool phone. Who'd have known they made anything like that? I want to say that one is The Incredibles from Disney. And Winnie the Pooh, of course. And here's some more record albums. And we're going to show you a quick picture of the Rusted Roost again that was unfortunately not open when we were there, but definitely you want to check that out. It's right by the railroad tracks in Blissfield downtown. And here's some more booths with a flag and lots of toys and crates. And this is Lou from Lou's Antiques saying goodbye, and we'll see you again.